How you doing, guys? Welcome to our own personal tropical rainforest here in Horseshoe Valley, Ontario, Canada. This is our forest. It's been raining for a whole bunch of days now, so the ground is really soggy, the leaves are all wet, and it's been fun. I've been working on this the past couple days. You can see I have my neighbor's excavator, and I have a little bit of news about that a little bit later, so keep watching till the end. That's our main driveway right through the forest. You can see the gravel road, and what I'm attempting to do is to cut a road, well, like a logging road, straight into the forest. Now it's a little bit uphill there, so the excavator's been digging it out, and I've been dealing with a big huge stump I'm trying to remove. But basically, this road that I'm in right now is done until up there. Now, it's not really smooth yet, but it's about 12 feet wide here, and I didn't cut down any major trees. I'm not really in the business of cutting down perfectly good, healthy trees because I don't want to kill trees. I want my forest to be regenerated, and that's what I'm attempting to do. That's why I got a sawmill. I will be cutting some trees and doing some personal logging for myself, but I'm not going to be starting with all of the good healthy trees. There's trees that are in our forest. This hasn't been touched for decades and decades, and honestly, there's enough dying trees here for firewood. There's enough almost dying trees that I can get up on the mill and make some lumber, and maybe there'll have to be some trees that'll have to be dealt with and cut, yes, just if it's in the way or, can't stop progress. I have these little small trees to deal with. So there's 1, 2, 3 kind of skinny trees that are in a clump, and then I have these size trees, 1, 2, 3 to deal with. Once I deal with these trees, I'll dig out the stumps with the excavator, and you can pretty much see that's a straight shot with a little curve in the road for logging. Now, one thing about our forest is that it's all on Oro Mountain. So there are points of it that are really steep. It's not like you can drive any equipment there properly and safely to harvest any wood. But maybe you can tell that right in there's like a valley, right? There's the 2 peaks and then a valley. So maybe eventually I could make a trail going straight up that valley and then harvest any trees and just winch them down to the trail to get them hooked up to the tractor to take back to my mill. But you can tell just by standing here, that's all uphill right there, right? You can just see the angle of all the young trees. So it makes much more sense to make the road down there. That way I won't have as much road leveling to do. So I got the excavator rigged up here because these few trees are really leaning this way. And the problem with it leaning that way is that that's the hydro line coming into the farm. So I really don't want any trouble and have them falling on the electrical line, because what if it breaks? Then I got to spend a lot of money, which I don't want to do. So I'm using the excavator not as a pro, just I'm trying to guide the trees down that way. That one worked fine, but you can see the lean of this tree, right? It's leaning right down that way, and it's like a dead tree too, eh? There's nothing up at the top, but I can't push it down. It'd be nice if the excavator can just push it down, but I'll see what I can do. Almost like I knew what I was doing. Yeah, I'll just buck up these logs quickly, move them with the excavator because the excavator has the thumb grabber. It's perfect. And then I'll try to dig out these stumps, and then I can drive over and do those skinny trees. The excavator might be able to push those down, I don't know. Oh man, fun in the forest. My GoPro just died. It's pouring rain, so I don't have my good camera out today. But man, did you see that stump? It That was a huge stump. And I finally got this leveled out somewhat okay. But I asked my neighbor Phil for some help. He's got a skid steer, and that's probably the right machine for this job, because what I want is for this, like this is the road, so I want the start of this road to be perfectly level with our driveway road, and this needs to be like feathered, like gradually sloped, not such a steep slope. It's hard to do with the excavator because it feels like it's tipping over. And I'm not really a pro at it either, but you know, Phil's been working on his farm for his whole life, so he knows a lot better on how to do this stuff. And the skid steer's a lot faster too. I've been working at this for hours, so I'll try to get some footage of that, but I couldn't get any footage of the stump because my camera, and then I'm like, do I gotta go all the way back to get a new battery? Nah, I'm almost finished. It took me like 2 hours to get that stump out, but I got it out. So I'm proud of myself. That's my neighbor Phil, and he's got that skid steer machine with this, I think it's called a landscape drum or a landscape shredder. Forgot already, but it's very powerful, and it just shreds whatever is in its way. Gets rid of little stumps, all the roots, grinds up any chunks of wood, and makes everything into a powder so that you can make yourself a nice little roadway. Neighbor Phil. Got to take off about 14 inches of the topsoil there until you get down to this kind of sandy soil. The really good thing about where we live in Horseshoe Valley, Ontario, Canada, is that the soil is very sandy. Once you get down from the topsoil, it's very easy to dig, and this stuff compacts very nicely. And I mean, I don't plan on putting gravel on this roadway yet. That's probably a couple years in the future, and it's going to take a good amount of money to gravel it all. But this is all the topsoil stuff. I don't think we're going to remove everything. The problem with the topsoil is that if it rains and then you drive on it, it becomes mud. This stuff right here, if it rains and you drive on it, it doesn't really become mud. Not in the same way anyways. But we just need to feather out these edges. We need to get rid of these piles and feather it all. And this is awesome that my neighbor was able to come with his machine and help me out. But I do have some great news about this mini excavator. This sucker right here. It's mine now. Yeah. Yes, I bought it from my neighbor. In essence, I bought it anyways. I mean, it's just an arrangement with him that I make some payments here and there. I gave him a little bit of money to start off. This is a John Deere 35G, and it's still in relatively good condition. It has the cab, obviously, so it has full heat and air conditioning inside. And have you ever seen those excavators that don't have the cab? the controls on the inside are all sun damaged from the UV rays, and you can hardly see anything. It gets all rained on and mucky, and it's just not nice. This is something that I'm investing in for the future of the farm, for the future of my life, you know? Like, I don't really have any future plans to get something much bigger than this, not like our neighbors. Our neighbors are really doing a lot of development on their farm. That's why he needed to upgrade from this small one to a much bigger unit. And I am the benefit. It's not costing me an arm and a leg. They continue to put their horses in our field, which for the past couple of years I haven't been charging them to put the horses in our field. And that's technically $75 per month per horse. Sometimes they have 9, 10, 11 horses out there. So it's probably $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 per season. So technically they owe me a little bit of money right now. So that just gets put towards me buying this machine from them. And I'm happy about it. You know, it's really good to have neighbors like that with a good relationship. But honestly, I can't keep bugging my neighbor for assistance on stuff. So Phil, my neighbor, he's basically been here a couple times helping me with this road, and he's showing me some tips. You know, like, I have a general understanding now. I've been borrowing this from him since I dug the pond. I basically had it on our property since then. He hasn't taken it back. So he came the other day and he's basically really showing me, you know, little tricks on how to make this really smooth and how to use the bucket properly so that you're not gouging the soil too deeply, because that's obviously an issue for me, being like a rookie on the machine. But it's all a learning curve. I'm a quick study, really fast learner, and once I learn things, that's it. It's inside the old noggin here. It's really a big deal for the farm, actually, because a piece of equipment like this, I don't know, it's hard to come by unless you're buying it brand new, ordered from the manufacturer. These kind of mini excavators, or even big excavators, they hold their value and they're hard to get, especially when they're gently used like that. So it's going to be amazing to have our own excavator. I'll be able to use this down at the sawmill, because that's really going to help me maneuver logs much more easier than my little tractor. And of course, I have so many plans to develop this forest, so you can't do that without machinery, unfortunately. So this is really great. It's not killing my pocketbook, you know, because it's just a nice arrangement with our neighbor. They're a really nice family. And this is a really great thing for Hidden Spring Farm's future development. We're gonna get this finished up a little bit better than what it is now. I want to feather it a little bit here so that it's less of a slope. And then a bit later on, we're gonna come up here with my little tractor, my John Deere 3039R, and take a drive up the whole thing and make sure it's not too tippy or unbalanced and safe for when I come in here trying to get logs and really continue this road all the way that direction through the length of the property. That's going to be a lot of trees. So I'd like to think that I can just take a tree and drop it back into the road, you know what I mean? Because if you try to drop it where there's other trees, they always get hung up. And that's just, I don't know. I'm not a professional logger and I don't have a team of people, so I need to do this intelligently and safely. But the next step is for me to figure out which way is it going to go. The driveway's down there and it just kind of curves around here. I chose this spot right here simply because there was the fewest big trees, and then it's going to come up here. I'm not sure exactly where I'm going to make it turn. I might lose this tree and lose those skinny trees there and then just snake it down there. Maybe lose this tree right here. That tree's dead anyway. There's nothing up top. Yeah, so that tree can just come down. Look at the big hole in it. Structure that was built here. This was from the previous owner's kids. I guess they were going to try to make some kind of a little cabin or a fort. The wood seems to be rotten anyway, so I'll take that down. So maybe if I lose that tree, then I can actually snake down there. So I want to try to get to that point down there, because if you look, that's on an angle. That's the top of the mountain. And then this is on an angle all the way down here. And that's kind of a flatter area. I think it's a lot easier to make the road in the flatter area instead of cutting into the mountain, you know? And there's a whole bunch of dead trees there. I can see it now. That doesn't look like an easy mess to get through, but I'll make a road from there. So from there, it'll snake around. Yeah, that's a good plan, I think. This is going to be awesome. Got my new excavator, be able to play with it. But I obviously have to get working on my sawmill shelter. I need to be able to get in here to get trees. It's too difficult to maneuver the tractor and the equipment and drop the trees when there's so many other trees in the way. It needs to be a little bit more efficient for me so that I can just drop a tree. If I continue making the road this way, I should be able to drop the tree back towards the road. So you just clean up that tree and then cut the next tree back towards the road so the trees can never get hung up. If they get hung up, it's a pain in the butt. I'll have to beg my neighbor to come back with that machine, the forestry mulcher, and mulch up all these little tiny branches, all this mess here, because I can't do that by hand. That's craziness. But I will be dropping some of the big trees, probably harvesting some firewood. And I still need to look for a huge tree that's straight so that I can get a nice 12-inch beam out of it. And I actually don't see any. I see some that are tall and straight, but they're not big. Like this tree right here. This looks like some kind of a pine, and it's not straight, you know? It's like all wiggly, so it wouldn't even work. And plus it's not big enough. But there's a whole bunch of dead ones. So that's the whole purpose of trying to rejuvenate this forest, guys. And that's to help the forest recover and thrive in the future. Because if you have too many trees, the forest is just going to die. And that's just the reality. A lot of people don't understand that you need to get rid of trees in order for all the young trees to thrive. I'm going to come up here in a minute with my tractor. And I got the forks on the tractor right now from working on the sawmill area. But there's a whole bunch of this wood that I cut down earlier in the video. And it's not really good for anything except firewood. But it seems like such a waste to let this go. It's all good wood. I just need to get them cut up properly so that I can stick it on the forks and just take it out of here. I almost got it all. Oh, that's okay though. I'll scoop it up by hand. Anyways, that's it for the video today. Got a lot done. Don't forget, this kind of a video, it's taken me a couple of months to get this far. Probably only 300 feet or so of road, but it's a lot of work when you're only one guy. Thank goodness my neighbor has that mulching machine. Always great hanging out with you guys. This logging road's bringing us one step closer to being efficient in the forest. And looks like this logging road that we've done is not perfect, but it's gonna do what I need it to do. It's not as tippy as I thought it would be inside my tractor, but it could use a little bit more leveling out, but I can deal with it for now. So I really do appreciate you watching. If you have any comments, drop it down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you're not already, and I really do appreciate it. Thank you.